and who wish to make them better. And so if you want to add your feature requests, just notice us in the chat. Do not hesitate, create a ticket in GitHub before our regular sessions, and we will see it and discuss, of course. And
Cool.
yeah, and let me share my screen and we can start. Yeah, our next sprint, as previous, will be
Let me
related.
try to make it bigger, Dmitry.
Yeah. Do you have my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
But by some reason it's it's very small. Let me small ourselves. Yeah. Done.
Good. So our previous sprint and the next one will be related to our big epic, which we start a month ago. We're developing a big part of new RoadRunner, I would say. This is SAPI. I think Valery definitely will describe you about what is it
Yeah.
in a few minutes.
In a few
And
seconds.
a few seconds, yes.
I'm ready to do this.
Yeah,
Like low start.
yeah, but I already prepared a list of tasks for discussing, and now we are working on the prototype of SAPI for the next conference. Valery, yeah, I think you will tell us about it better, please.
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen as well. Okay, so where is my window? I can share basically the whole window. Yeah. So, like briefly speaking, what is SAPI? So a lot of implementations like PHP FPM, I don't know, EES from Microsoft, so all other light speed SAPIs. So basically, they are capable of running PHP scripts, which is like in the center, like your PHP script. Commonly, it having name index PHP, and it like supposed to be run under this PHP FPM or all other SAPIs. So all this kind of stuff is called SAPI, Server API, basically. So who is the server in this construction? So server here is just PHP sources, So and PHP, some index PHP can be run separately without some kind of process manager with it. So and that because we need to have some kind of like servers called SAPI. So our goal is to create a new kind of SAPI which will be written in Rust. You know about this, and capable of running different like requests. So like this. At this moment, we're already done with some kind of basic implementation of PHP script, which is runs inside our SAPI, which is capable of running some kind of like WordPress installations. WordPress.
Maybe I can provide a bit more PHP specific description.
Yeah. I'll just describe an architecture, and then I'll you can tell about this PHP stuff. So our goal is to create is like a lot of plugins. Move it from the RoadRunner. These are plugins. Combine them into one big system, and to be capable of communicating with this SAPI system. Yeah. So basically, it looks like very easy task, but it's not as it looks like. Okay, Anthony. So can you add something?
So for some people who are familiar with RoadRunner, the biggest kind kind of limitation on the RoadRunner if it's a runtime model. So right now, when we run your PHP code, we mostly support modern frameworks, Spiral, partially
Yeah,
Laravel, or Symfony, and etc. The reason why we're able to support these frameworks is because they have an abstraction of the request response cycle. Essentially, we are able to bootstrap your application once and then exchange payloads with that in a form of request and get back the response from it. This is it's not an easy to implement. It took us a couple of years, but this is highly efficient and highly performant way to communicate with PHP applications.
yeah,
Pretty much any like non-PHP language works this way. Like you do not create application for each individual request. The downside of this approach is that, unfortunately or fortunately, there is a lot of applications in PHP world which do not support this type of work, specifically WordPress, partially Drupal, Magenta, and so on. They have been built using a built older model, which utilizes SAPI, as Valery described. And
yeah,
SAPI in this context is, well, it's server API. So essentially what it allows external server like Nginx to do, it is saying, hey, I want to execute file like index.php with this and these parameters. And SAPI is responsible for actually loading this index.php, initiating that, and then destructing it after the end of the response. So that's what famous PHP FPM is doing for every of your application. So our current goal and our current work is actually to bring all of the PHP, all of the features and plugins we have in RoadRunner, queues, temporal, Kafka. We will see how many we can port and make them compatible with code which has been written not specifically for RoadRunner. In our particular example, we taking a look at WordPress. So the end goal
yeah.
is that you have an application server which can be customized, tweaked, and can share all of your plugins for application like WordPress, like Drupal, and like Magenta, and many other PHP applications built in a kind of legacy times, let's say. So that's our current work. This work requires knowing of the PHP internals. This is not, unlike RoadRunner Worker
Yeah.
Pool, where we can exchange information directly with Worker, we do not require any type of extension. We do not require any type of PHP source code tweaking. SAPI, in this case, works very differently because it communicates with your PHP script directly from inside the PHP virtual machine. So it's a bit more advanced. It's not more performant, but it does opens a number of interesting features for the future of the RoadRunner integrations. So that's kind of the high level
Like Kafka
concept.
with WordPress.
Kafka
Like
with
just
WordPress, for
imagine
example.
this thing like Kafka, and I'm pleased to announce some kind of initial architecture of this system, how we can basically integrate all of these things. So we don't want to write every run plugin because it's a lot of work actually. So all the ecosystem written for years shouldn't be written in one moment, like, oh, we have everything in Rust, we have so super performant. I did some load testing and realized that RoadRunner written in Rust have 15%, from 15 to 20% performance benefits, like regarding to the Golang part. But still, we do have a lot of plugins already implemented, and we think about the following architecture, how we can like integrate all of them in one big ecosystem. So first of all, imagine we have like this PHP script like Anton tell like index PHP or whatever you want. Then we have a SAPI around this script. SAPI works over the fast CGI. So this kind of all systems, all of them based on a CGI type of request. So they populate over the std out, like super globals, etc., etc. So how we can integrate this PHP and SAPI with existing ecosystem? So first of all, we create. Let me use a different color for the plugin. So imagine we have a Kafka plugin, like famous Kafka plugin with WordPress, Kafka. So Kafka plugin works that it consumes like some topic and then sends some messages to like some system, PHP or Runner or whatever we want. We would have, and we already have, all of these kind of libraries written interpost communication through the shared memory. So basically, how everything application inside of PHP works. So Kafka will connect to shared memory segment without any changes from the Kafka plugin. So everything will work as it worked today, and shared memory would be connected like in a bidirectional way through the existing SAPI installation. So since we already have like on one part is like a Golang application, and it's very, it's not so hard to implement, and it's already implemented. It's called IPC. It's our project. It's not so hard to implement. This only a few system calls to instantiate shared memory segments, since all of them are running inside a user space. So you don't need to require some kind of privileges run to use sudo or whatever you want. Then this shared memory segment would be connected also to some subsystem from the SAPI, from the Rust, which will consume all of the stuff related to this Kafka message, populate superglobals from the PHP, receive an answer, and send it back to the Kafka system. So basically, we would have a small bridge, so everyone would be able to use only high-level abstractions to write, to write all of existing plugins with the minimal changes. So this is our end goal. So without any significant changes, this is like every time I wake up from the bed, I like no big changes.
In other words, if you did create, let's say, Amazon Lambda plugin for RoadRunner, and you feed data through the worker pool, it should work the same way, except you'll be able to use legacy scripts under this Lambda now. So
yeah,
there's going to be no changes to user code in RoadRunner. We're going to encapsulate this functionality inside the worker pool, so end user won't even see that.
Yeah. So with, as I said, like very small changes, I expect it to be only configuration and few additional libraries like to connect to shared memory segment. Yeah. So this is basically what, so I think Dmitry is interested in what was done during the sprint for sure. So
nice presentation. Thank you, Valery.
We were not prepared to this presentation, but it happened
Beautiful,
like just
beautiful drawing.
Yeah, Excalidraw. So I can recommend you. And what was done during this sprint? Basically, we already had a prototype which we worked on during the. Let me do like this and stop sharing the screen. Yeah, we already had this prototype, and we can run WordPress at the moment. We can't use a lot of functionality from WordPress, but basically we can invoke it without any problems in automatic mode. And we also have, let's say, core library, which will be connected to the PHP sources. This wouldn't be as SAPI, how you can imagine it, like PHP FPM, because PHP FPM contains inside it SIR and like wires to the PHP SRC. In our case, we would have a small library which can everybody use to like in their projects. It's under MIT license, and this library would be able to connect to PHP SRC via PHP embed. So I already did this library, so we for sure need to have some polishing, some bindings updates, so remove unneeded, add needed, and so on and so forth. So and we also have a server which can basically transform. So we basically have two servers, HTTP server and FastCGI server. I tried to communicate through the HTTP request and transform it into the FastCGI request, but I think it's better to use FastCGI requests that it wouldn't be required, won't require any changes from the user side. So a lot of users nowadays use PHP FPM with Nginx, for example, with FastCGI proxy path. FastCGI pass, if I would say it correctly. So I don't want for users to use HTTP proxy pass, like to change their configuration. So basically, we will support at first FastCGI pass, like to be compatible with all of this kind of servers. Yeah. So that's it, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Valery.
like a few lines of code. The problem, the major problem of this implementation is that we don't have any docs at all. And I would like to say thank you to the guys like Franklin PHP, for example, who did this with their implementation, like with Go, because where you don't have any documentation, you should like read source code of other projects, and Franklin PHP helps a lot here to understand how it works, because we have only one book called PHP Internals. And like this.
There will be our task to write documentation for it.
Yeah, I think it's our goal.
Mhm. Nice. So I suggest go to Jira and take some existing tasks and plan it. As far as I can understand, we need to finish our prototype till the end of month. So we are continuing to work on this task, and the next one, I would say we need to take this task 492 about shared memory. Am I right?
Shared memory is already done. I just need to move this project from my personal projects to the RoadRunner server. So, but this is already done, and this is already tested. By the way, guys, I want to mention one important thing, that we won't be supporting Windows. So in our implementation, we are going to support only POSIX compatible systems, because for Windows, it's very hard to, first of all, it's very hard to use tools from Windows, because all of them have different names, like not which but where, not ls but dir. So, and there are a lot of things which should be implemented specifically for the Windows, then from the Mac OS or Linux. So our implementation would be for the Linux only systems. I mean, not Linux, it's like POSIX compatible, which are all BSD, Linux, macOS, and etc. And you can barely use your this implementation inside WSL. So because it's nowadays, this is a like good layer where you can work seamlessly without interaction with Windows. Yeah.
I think it's fine. I mean, 90% of people going to be running PHP under Linux, so.
Yeah. Good clarification.
Yeah.
And Valery, 501, this task you described today on the daily. We need to.
So I already work on this. Yeah. HTTP and FastCGI, so you can like use a slash in ticket name, like HTTP/FastCGI, because I think first will be FastCGI, because it's like native to the like all of this PHP stuff.
Just to clarify, FastCGI means that we'll be running like without necessarily having a RoadRunner server at top, right? Standalone. It can work as standalone replacement for PHP FPM essentially.
Yeah. So it's only like FastCGI server, and so the goal is not to involve at all RoadRunner like communication layer in this plugins, so HTTP won't be required to HTTP plugin. I mean, which have HTTP2, FastCGI, like HTTPS, everything from the RoadRunner. It won't be required to use inside this tool. So,
I mean, you still can supervise this modular using RoadRunner and have access to all the features. It's just going to be easier to provide direct access to that.
Yeah, might be.
Okay, we have 2 weeks remains before the conference. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we also Yeah, I also worked a little bit on SSL support for the IMQP. It's like it's small ticket because we already have SSL, but not SSL, actually TLS implemented. SSL is like a kind of old name for this feature. So we already had TLS implementation for various of plugins like gRPC, HTTPS, temporal. So this is well-known field of knowledge for us, and it's just needed to Control C, Control V into this plugin. So basically, it's needed to run IMQP inside ADBS environment because ADBS requires to use IMQPS protocol.
You've started to work on
Yeah,
it.
I'm started. I created a pull request in draft, but it's needed to be continued. So work is needed to be
How
continued
much
of this
time do
ticket.
you need?
I think it's like 1 day, no more. So it's like I worked slightly on it.
And how much time do you need for this layer, communication layer?
So it's already in progress. I already have the fast CGI server up and running, but I need to figure out a few important things related to so so I can run without any problems any script except WordPress, because WordPress have a lot of things inside, like redirection to other scripts, like on every step, so installation, etc., etc. So I can run it like in some way, but not I can't say that this is like finished task that we can run it. So FastAGI basically is done. So we already have this HTTP layer and FastAGI layer. We already have all of them.
But okay, like preparation for launch, yeah.
Well, it should be like
Yeah,
a header function support and so on and so
yeah,
on.
yeah.
So I would probably say it's no less than 2 weeks, honestly.
Yeah. Let's set 1 week for beginning. And we have some tickets.
Do we want to try to tackle the process forks for the main part of the RoadRunner in the sprint, Valeria? At least try.
Yeah. As we talked with you, we need to think about the completely new transport for this. The main problem here is that we can't communicate in a like we communicate previously with the script, with PHP script in like our Unix circuits and etc. way. We can't communicate with a child who is not our child, because we read stdr from every process, and the problem is that we can't read stdr from the child which is not our child, from our child. Child of our child is not our child. So this is definitely a different process, and thus we have to create a transport layer which will redirect everything related to the like stdr, stdout, and stdin through our new transport layer. It can be, by the way, it can be like Unix sockets or TCP, but not pipes, because we can't connect directly to the pipes. But we can definitely wait. So the main problem was in this implementation that we can't wait for a child to exit. We can't block. But I proved on the stream also that with the new implementation we can do this, and we can basically wait for the worker to exit. Yeah.
So
This is no problem.
maybe let's do another sprint then, and this one just focus on smaller tickets and SAPI. But let's get working WordPress version, working on the fast CGI, and then we can see how much extra room we have. It's already 3 weeks and 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll know it. Thank you.
Well, I mean, you have fast CGI excellent communication 489, so you can pull it in, and
yeah.
this should be done. We can probably just add 1 day to this ticket.
Oh yeah. So this is the same I mentioned about HTTP.
Yeah.
Like you can
Well,
just delete it.
HTTP is a bit larger task because this includes the PHP specific functions for HTTP. For CGI is just done, just a transport.
Wait for a second. Could you please, Dmitry, scroll up slightly? So we have create HTTP FastCGI layer for interaction with the PHP. So this is basically the same as this FastCGI. So
So
why
where do you want to work for the PHP functions, like headers support?
FastCGI?
Is it FastCGI specific?
This is not FastCGI specific. It's FastCGI just adjusted transport. So you don't need to.
Yeah, but we still need that functions to be done to make WordPress working. That's what I'm saying. Like we
Do
can.
you mean headers?
Yes, we can split. We can rename this ticket to like support HTTP related functions in PHP runtime.
Oh yeah. So I get you. So yeah. So this is different. FastCGI and.
FastCGI is done. It's just a transfer.
Yeah.
But functions are still needed.
Yeah, we need to support all this stuff. It's kind of funny that after sending a header, PHP like script should die. It sends basically like header, new location, and exits.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can pull in FastCGI in it too.
Yeah.
This
489 is the first
yes.
one. Like just stack first.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like pop out of the stack.
Okay, guys. Should we add something else there?
Can you scroll down? Let's see. There has been probably some minor things. We also have non-SAPI related tickets like temporal replay API.
Yeah, the old one, as we see.
How fast we need this replay API?
Yesterday.
Yeah, as usual. Okay. So we can move it like slightly like to the top.
I'm not sure we actually have the ticket for that in error section.
Oh.
Which one?
Can you find the temporal one? I don't think it might not be here actually. So you can probably create a new story. Research and connect replay API.
Finish temporal support.
It is in temporal.
Could you please get into this ticket? Finish temporal support, temporal IO support. Maybe we need to close it. It's like finished.
Yes.
It's like done. Need to finish the
January.
Yeah. This ticket is like
we can rename it.
We can basically
let's just
move it.
Let's just close it.
Done.
Let's close it and then let's just create a new ticket. Add like research and connect replay API.
Yeah.
And then let's just fill the rest of the sprints with this ticket. I hope it will be enough. It's either 5 minutes to implement or 5 days. We don't know yet.
Yeah. It's like one call or 2 calls. It's like 5 minutes, 2 days.
Replay.
Like as usual, guys, I forget to start our recording just from the beginning of our stream. It's like we're going to merge a video from Twitch with a video from Riverside a little bit. So like a few seconds from the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and by the way, we have this when we have the second quarter to end. It's like July.
It should be in July, but I'm not sure that we can manage to do it.
Why not? So we have very few tickets for the spring because we mostly was busy with we're busy with this implementation of SAPI. So I think we would have only from the big part we would have only IMQ SPS support and
Replay.
hopefully replay API, and basically that's it. So this is a month for this. I think we can manage this without any problems. So release would be on a time, like
8.
And this is also a cool ticket after init phase. What do you think about this, Anton?
Which ticket? Oh,
After init phase.
Is it?
Do you like
is
it?
it long time to do?
I don't think so. This is like on init, but after init. So it's like,
Yeah, we can pull it in. We can pull it in.
it's just a new feature. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember this one. It's just a pink underlying framework for the warming up.
Yeah. It's not only, it's the first one in a stack.
First on the list.
After init phase, yeah.
499,
First.
Dmitry. It's the first
stack. First.
Yeah.
What do you think about this ticket, Anthony?
Yeah, it's a good one. Definitely won't be bad to support it.
It should be supported, by the way, in every pool. It's not like we have on init. I also thinking about implementing on init per pool. Like if you have like global on init,
just make sure it's optional. So like if it won't.
Yeah, it's completely optional. By the way, on init currently implemented, it's just completely optional, because even if it fails to run, RoadRunner will continue to work. It's just completely optional. Even in even this mode when you fail to run on init script. So
that seems to be good enough.
This is like after init, I would say it's 3 days to do, no more. 3 hours, yeah. But it would be like, every programmer like 2 days and 1 day for implementation.
I see that we have a bit exceed our sprint, but okay.
Let's slightly reduce, create a prototype, because we are already doing this.
2 weeks less,
like 1.5 on
days.
How long we over? You can't.
10 days, 2 weeks, by the way, Dmitry, in business hours. So just put it to 7 days.
7, okay, yeah.
Maybe even 8 days. Yeah.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
1 week, 3 days.
And remaining is 1 day, 1 week, 3 days. Yeah. Okay, this looks good.
Yeah, we can. I think we can.
So you want to fit it into the 4 weeks? Am I right?
I want.
So we have extra 3 days. Am I right?
No, we don't.
Or 1 day.
We don't.
Could you please show this pop-up?
It's already 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, original time, remaining time, 4 weeks. Oh yeah. So fine, good, yeah.
So that's it. I think we.
Yeah. So let me stop the recording. So we are. Let me check this. Okay, so let me stop the recording. Say bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you all. Bye.